Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Brain Smasher. It is a pleasure to be within your company because we're going to talk about my favorite subject, heavy fucking metal. Thank you for joining me, as you always do. We're listening to something a little out of the ordinary, Spastic Inc. This is their album Incomplete. Self-released album, I guess. Really weird band, super techy, super proggy, super just shreddy, featuring Bobby Jarzombek from a myriad of bands. Demons and Wizards, Rob Halford, Judas Priest, Agent Steel, and his brother, Bobby Jarzombek, or Ron Jarzombek, sorry, who is the mastermind behind all this music. And Ron, the guitar player, also did a band called Blotted Science a couple of years ago, and I need to pick up some Blotted Science material. It's a lot like this, only a lot more death metal. Alex Webster from Cannibal Corpse plays on the Blotted Science stuff, along with the drummer Charlie Zeleny from Behold the Arctopus. Really interesting stuff. But anyways, this is super fun. There's a video. A Wild Hair is the song, track 6 on this album. And what they did was they basically took the dialogue from the movie Bambi and turned it into metal music. And there's a video on YouTube syncing the music to the dialogue, and it's really strange and fascinating. Just thought about putting this on for the video at a totally random grab. So all this is a couple of albums I've gotten in over the past few days, honestly. Today was a pretty big mail day. First off, check out this little guy. Let's see if I can check that out. Hope that works. This is a pin, an official pin of The Moon Lay Hidden Beneath a Cloud. A group which has been defunct since probably 1998, 99, something like that around there. I just happened to follow them on Facebook, and the other day, Albin Julius, better known from Der Blutarsch, posted that he found a lost little package of these pins and was selling them for like €6 a piece. Instantly grabbed it. Happy to have anything official from Moonlight Hidden Beneath the Cloud. One of my favorite dark ambient non-metal groups, and the chance to buy anything official from Moonlight Hidden is very, very, very rare. So I didn't even think about hitting that buy button when I found out about it. Where do we start here? I guess a couple days ago I got in Bindrune box from my good buddy Marty Worm. This album I needed on vinyl because it is fucking sick. I guess I'll go ahead and say it's sick. I don't really refer to metal as sick really ever, but this is every adjective that sums up awesome. I'm not a fan of the album artwork. I don't know what this is. Maybe if I heard a story behind it or something, I would feel a little bit more in tune with whatever they're trying to put forth here, but the music is what matters, and the music here offers so much great riffs in abundance. This is available on black vinyl, but I chose the splattered vinyl. Real nice, pretty gray and black on there. It's a Swedish group, but I feel like they are referencing a lot of Norwegian influences. So the melding of those two elements makes for a really great listen. These guys are just thinking miles ahead of the pack. Riff-wise, just brilliant fucking riffing. It's not very complex whatsoever. Not that this is like simplistic like Darkthrone or anything, but there isn't a lot of sort of like genius harmonics are going on or anything, or symphonic sort of elements. It's really just stripped down. Vocals are just kind of like standard vocals, but it's really like thinking man's riff metal, if you will. Just the riffs are so amazing, brilliantly composed. Can't recommend this Merg with Gouda Tal enough. So this is available from Bindrune and Nordvis for $19. The Swirl version, I also have it on CD. Pick this up. This is a fucking phenomenal release. And as always, I'll put a link down below in the description for you to check it out. Do it! Just fucking do it! God! Next. Marty also sent me a couple of goodies, freebies. This is Algion with Imaste o Exthros. I don't speak whatever language this is. Haven't heard it, don't know much about it, but Pulverized put this out. Pulverized puts out a lot of great stuff, and Algion is a group who has done some fantastic black metal in the past. I just haven't heard it, don't know anything about it. Appreciate the gift, Marty. And another thing he sent me was an ale. This is called From Arcane Fires. This album is fantastic. I already have a copy of it. This album, as far as I'm concerned, sounds like what Samael would sound like if they hadn't gone in the experimental, industrial sort of direction. It's super great and sounds a lot like the Worship Hymn or Blood Ritual material. It's really, really great. My only complaint about the album really is that the drumming is really sloppy. I don't know what the problem is, but the guitar tone is fucking phenomenal. They did an album after this, too, that is maybe a little bit better, but the drumming is worse. And me as a drummer, that just bothers me to no fucking end, how the drumming is just sloppy. But that's probably going to be a VCLT at some point. The next thing Marty gave me was Drowning the Light, an alignment of Dead Stars. And when I first saw this logo coming out of the box, I just had this like gut reaction of like, oh god, how did that get in the house? As you know, I'm not really a fan of Drowning the Light. However, Marty said, if this album doesn't get you into Drowning the Light, call off the search party. It's over with. You're not into Drowning the Light. So I will heartily give this a chance and see what I think of it. I appreciate the gift. I have heard several opinions that this is their best material, but I don't see myself buying all of their shit loads of material anytime soon. Also got in a couple things from Nuclear War Now. They had posted on their Instagram. They're worth following on Instagram, by the way, about deals. I have had this on my want list for a couple of months now. Just never really got around to getting it. And hell, I should have gotten the album back when it came out. And I kind of always meant to. I just never really got around to it. Beherit's comeback album, Engram, from 2009. It's fucking killer. It's an album I haven't really listened to very often. I've kind of struggled with some of Beherit's stuff and recently really got into Drawing Down the Moon from 1993. And I never really thought about how the band went from 1993 to 2009 without releasing anything. And this album is fucking phenomenal. This is a 2016 reissue of it. Some label called Cult something or other. Not much to see in the booklet here, but awesome. Just it's just amazing how he just picked up where he left off with the Beherit style after going and being like some sort of DJ or EDM artist or something for a long time. But it's a killer Beherit record. It's one of the better ones. And you should check it out. Engram. Just great, just addictive sort of guitar tone with just those heavy, simplistic Finnish black metal riffs that Beherit were a cornerstone of creating back in their early heyday. Another one I got in was, I've kind of had my finger on this album really for a number of years, but I'd only recently found out that it had been reissued. Crypt of Kerberos, World of Myths. This was originally recorded and released in 1993. This packaging also fucking sucks. I just hate it when an old band or an old album gets reissued and the artwork just doesn't match the aesthetic of the original release, and it just doesn't seem to match anything about what the band was about at the time. Just a bunch of fucking flaming dog skulls. This just doesn't evoke anything that Crypt of Kerberos' World of Myths does to me. As little as I know about the album. There's a bunch of liner notes and cool photos in here, but the artwork on this just fucking sucks. Pulverized, again, put this out. Pulverized is a killer label. I think now that I've picked up a couple of their recent releases, I think to see what they've been up to. That label put out Third Eye Function by Theory and Practice back in the day, a killer album. Anyways, it's been a long time since I did listen to this album, so I don't really have a fresh opinion to offer you about it, but it's a Swedish band that really never went anywhere. This is the only full length they ever recorded. This has the album remastered, so I'm not sure how the remaster sounds, but I remember some comparisons to Gormant being pretty apt comparisons, but there is a little bit of symphonic element to this. For a Swedish death metal album coming out in 1993, there's a lot of forward-thinking elements going on this album. So if that sounds interesting to you, I should definitely recommend it. This is the kind of thing I'm kind of surprised actually that Dark Descent didn't wind up reissuing this, but I think this reissue came out in 2012, so they were a little bit far ahead of the game. I just wish there was some shred of the original album artwork or something on this. It just seems so revisionist to have this offered and just not really invoke any of the original spirit of the old record. There is, I guess, a vinyl box set of some of their stuff that I should probably check out. Probably costs a lot of money, but World of Myths, regardless of artwork and packaging and releases and whatever, is a killer record. Highly recommend getting into that. Lastly, from Nuclear War Now, this was just cheap enough for me to grab. I had been kind of meaning to get it. It's an album I struggled with for a while, but it's a band that I pretty much worship, and now that I'm saddled with a copy of it, I can fully dig in and give it its proper chance to listen to it. Abigor's Le Mort Lucifer. Not sure. Le Motif Lucifer. Anyways, their last album, and they have an album coming out here pretty soon that I'm pretty excited about. They've kind of changed up the template of things, and they're just stripping everything down. No overdubs, no harmonies, no blast beats, just stripped down 90s black metal. Sounds interesting. We'll see where that goes. But this new era of Abigor just kind of confounds me. The riffing is just so complex and just makes so little sense to me. There just isn't much of what I loved about Abigor back in the day remaining in Abigor today. They're a fascinating group, and what they are doing is interesting, but for me to draw a comparison between old Abigor and new really isn't fair, I guess I would say. But yeah, that's what I got from Nuclear War Now. Another thing I'm pretty stoked on, so you know how I was looking for Walkman tape players, and I had a really hard time doing that. And I thought to myself, you know what? Is it only a matter of time before the fucking retro CD craze kicks in? I'm kind of banking on that, but what do I care? I love all my CDs. I've been wanting to pick up a CD player Walkman, and I picked this up for $2 at a thrift store the other day, and I'm very happy with it. I went to bed listening to a CD last night, and I just plug earphones into my phone and listen to some MP3s as I go to sleep. But instantly, the album that I was listening to sounded so great, and it just it almost like sent me into dreamland a little bit quicker than I ever usually do. The fidelity of a CD is unparalleled on an MP3s. And that's something that's easy to forget about because you just put on an MP3 or stream something on YouTube or Bandcamp, and the fidelity of something isn't really what you're paying attention to. It's really the content of the music. But there's a lot to be said for the atmosphere that can be achieved on the perfect digital representation. There's really no way around it. So that's all I've got in my brain for now. I'm all emptied out. We will see you next time. I appreciate you joining me. I appreciate your subscription. And I appreciate you staying alive in the world of heavy metal.